have the power to end this war. And I think it's going very well. But today I heard, oh, well, we weren't invited. Well, you've been there for 3 years. You should have ended it 3 years. You should have never started it. You could have made a deal. I could have made a deal for Ukraine that would have given them almost all of the land, everything, almost all of the land, and no people would have been killed, and no city would have been demolished, and not one dome would have been knocked down. But they chose not to do it that way. And
that was US President Donald Trump after his delegates returned from Riyadh, where they met Russia's delegates in a meeting for Ukraine peace talks. Russia's long game is now finally paying off. Like I said in my last video, when Russia invaded Ukraine, they knew the West will oppose, sanction and be against them. Though they prepared for it, they were also counting in the West's inability to be united in opposing them. For the past 3 years, it seemed as if Russians made wrong calculations, but now their bet is finally paying off. There is a big catastrophe among the West. It seems the US is finally tired of supporting Ukraine. Take a look at what the US President Donald Trump dropped on X, formerly known as Twitter. I quote, "Think of it, a modestly successful comedian, Volodymyr Zelensky, talked the US states of America into spending $350 billion to go into a war that couldn't be won, that never had to start, but a war that he, without the US and Trump, will never be able to settle. The United States has spent $200 billion more than Europe, and Europe's money is guaranteed. Why the United States will get nothing back? Why didn't sleepy Joe Biden demand equalization? In that this war is far more important to Europe than it is to us. We have a big ocean, beautiful ocean as separation. On top of this, Zelensky admits that half of the money we sent to him is missing. He refuses to have elections. He's very low in Ukraine polls. And the only thing he was good at was playing Joe Biden like a fiddle, a dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast or he is not going to have a country left. In the meantime, we are successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia, something all admit only Trump and Trump's administration can do. Biden never tried. Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelensky probably wants to keep the gravy train going. I love Ukraine, but Zelensky has done a terrible job. His country is shattered and millions have unnecessarily died, and so it continues. So clearly, Trump blamed Ukrainian President Zelensky for starting the war he knew can never be won, which is obviously true. What were they thinking in Europe? To defeat Russia, a country with the highest nuclear warheads, enough to destroy this planet Earth times 10. Secondly, Trump called Zelensky a dictator, given the fact his term has expired last 2 years and he has been shifting elections with martial law. In Ukraine constitution, it is illegal to conduct elections while the country is in martial law. I bet they will find a way to change the constitution because Russia said they don't recognize Zelensky as a legitimate president and will sign no peace agreement with him.
If Zelensky says that it is possible to negotiate with him, well, he makes it clear. Then, in your opinion, is it possible to negotiate with him? You can negotiate with anyone, but due to his illegitimacy, he has no right to sign anything. But if he wants to take part in the negotiations, then I will single out people who will conduct these negotiations with him. Welcome. The issue is the final signing of the documents. This is a very serious issue that must guarantee the security of both Ukraine.
Trump was not the only one that called out Zelensky warmongering. Elon Musk, US special government employee and strong Trump ally, also posted on X, I quote, "The president's instincts on Ukraine are absolutely right. It is really sad that so many parents have lost their sons and so many sons their fathers in this pointless war. All these reactions started when Zelensky said Trump is living in Russia's disinformation world.
It is unfortunate that President Trump, and with great respect for him as the leader of the American people who constantly support us, unfortunately lives in this disinformation space.
You should know, Trump is not happy with Ukraine or happy supporting Ukraine anymore. Ever since Ukraine rejected the deal where US asked for 50% of the rare earth minerals, investment and infrastructures in Ukraine as payment for the money US gave to Ukraine in the past 3 years as support to fight the war, over $300 billion. Trump said he wants guarantees they would get the money back, but Ukraine wants NATO membership before signing any deal.
And I think Europe has given 100 billion, and we've given, let's say, 300 plus. And it's more important for them than it is for us. We have an ocean in between, and they don't. But where is all the money that's been given? Where is it going? And I've never seen an accounting of it. We give hundreds of billions of dollars. I don't see any accounting.
Then let's go to Russia to see their take in all this. Russian president said he raised the meeting in Saudi Arabia high, and Russia and US have resumed normal diplomatic talks. He also said there are a lot of works to be done, like Palestine issues, economics, joint work on global energy market, etc. Although the Ukraine war is the primary focus.
Hello, Interfax Agency. Everyone is interested in the results of the talks in Riyadh. I am sure that they have already reported to you. How do you rate them? Is there a positive result, if I may say so, from these talks? Yes. They reported to me. That is the first thing. Secondly, I rate them highly. There is a result. The first thing I would like to say is that we have agreed to resume the work of diplomatic missions in normal mode. The constant expulsion of diplomats from both Washington and Moscow does not lead to anything good. If things continue like this, then only cleaners will work in these buildings, whose work should certainly be appreciated, but this is not what diplomatic missions are created for. That is the first thing. Secondly, in my opinion, we have taken the first step to resume work in a variety of areas that are of mutual interest. This includes the Middle East in the broad sense of the word. I mean our continued presence in Syria, the Palestinian-Israeli settlement, and so on. There are many issues there, in the resolution of which both the United States and the Russian Federation are involved, despite the fact that, of course, we attach primary importance to the situation related to the Ukrainian direction.
He was also asked if the Europeans will be included in the peace talks, since they are agitated with the snub they received already.
But the Europeans are agitated. They are all in a panic, almost, that they are not participating in the negotiations, and the same sentiments are present among the Ukrainian leaders. Everyone wants to have a voice. What should we do with them all? A voice in what? I just said that the goal and subject of our negotiations was the restoration of Russian-American relations. Does anyone want to be a mediator between Russia and the United States? These are probably excessive demands. But the most important thing here, in resolving all the very pressing issues, including the Ukrainian settlement, is that without increasing the level of trust between Russia and the United States, it is impossible to resolve many issues, including the Ukrainian crisis. The purpose of this meeting was precisely to increase trust between Russia and the United States. As for the other participants, first of all, Russia has never refused to contact the Europeans. Russia has never refused to negotiate with Ukraine, never. It was our, so to speak, partners in these negotiations who refused. The Europeans stopped contacting Russia, and the Ukrainian side forbade itself to negotiate. They withdrew from the negotiation process in Istanbul directly, publicly announcing this. Well, we are not imposing anything on anyone. We are ready. I have already said this 100 times. If they want, then welcome. Let them conduct these negotiations, and we will be ready to return to the negotiating table.
Coming to Europe, what are they doing to challenge Trump and Putin's move? Well, the European Union has announced another new sanctions on Russia, banning aluminium imports from Russia. They also banned 48 individuals and 35 entities in Russia. There's another meeting in Paris, the second one in 3 days. They invited smaller EU country leaders and also Canada. You know, Canada is not a European country, but they are in NATO. They are talking on how to challenge Trump and prove their relevance to the US president, and also how to support Ukraine independently. They are still divided in sending troops to Ukraine. German Chancellor said NATO is meant to act as one with US.
There must be no division of security and responsibilities between Europe and the US, which means that NATO is based on the fact that we always act together and are at risk together and guarantee our security through this.
Well, we'll be following the whole situation to see where it leads. This is in-depth analysis by Arinze. Don't forget to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to my channel. Thank you.